to the music scene, showing lots of love for the community. With great advice, I know who I should go see. So Around Town Radio Show is where I go for the latest band info. So Around Town Radio Show for the music that comforts my soul. It's the All Around Town Radio
Show. Good afternoon, everybody. It's lunchtime. It is. Welcome to the Nooner here on a Wednesday. Good to have you with us. Coming to you live from the All Around Town Radio studios in beautiful downtown Springboro, Ohio. Good to have you with us. Yes.
It's the Weekend Review. Top 5 are coming for you.
Hi, Sean Bell.
With the fans, sometimes they don't show up.
Yes.
Whatever, man.
What's up?
Clubbing who's playing out off the open
The lovely
field.
Gina McCann. It is a beautiful day. What wonderful weather we're having today. Going to be a great night for me on the patio at Heather's tonight with Name That Tune. Hope to see a lot of you there. And for those of you that are just joining us at noon, we know noon is not the primo time to do this, but it's the time I got, and it's lunchtime, and we're going to chat today. So we're taking your questions on whatever Wednesday. If you have a question for us about our programming or anything we do here at All Around Town Radio, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you today. Hello, Stephen Bell. Buckeye Dave Shields in the house. And Mike Trent wants to know who was the coolest interview that I ever got. Gosh, man, I've done some good ones. I have. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say my favorite interview that I did was with John Waite, because John Waite has stayed connected with me since. And, the Babies and John Waite solo. And it was that was probably the best interview, Mike, that I have had, or coolest interview. I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, I have in my day. I've talked to members of the Beach Boys. I've talked to members of the Temptations way back when. I've interviewed, Chris from Blue Lagoon. I've talked to movie people. I've talked to, record company people. There's so many. There is. So many. I mean, I've talked to the guys from Hinder. I mean, country-wise, the interview with Richard from the Oak Ridge Boys was a good one the other day. I've talked to Rick Springfield. There's so many of them out there. But my favorite has to be the John Waite interview. Also, I talked to B. Birtles from the Little River Band, one of the founding members of that. Just some cool stuff. And we hope to have more. I have some friends who are well connected in the music business, and they always pitch me people as we get a chance to talk to them, as we did with the Oak Ridge Boys and some of those folks recently. Hello, Sean Cooper, Mike Trent. We're taking your questions today, guys. If you have a question for us about our programming, go ahead and throw it in the comments. Let me say hi to some folks here. Fast Lane Productions is with us. Glenn checking in on the YouTube channel. Thank you for being here, Glenn, and always supporting. I didn't get a chance yesterday on yesterday's show to really dig deep with the people who support us the most, because, in 35, 40 minutes, it just goes so fast. That show yesterday's on fire, by the way. We're approaching 2,000 views on it, and thank you for that, for our little old thing that I do with Karis every Tuesday called Hot Topic Tuesday. And we stayed pretty mellow yesterday, we did, and didn't really have a, you always notice the controversial topics have better views. They do. And that's just the way of the world today. People, like controversy. They like conflict and things like that. Hello, Jim Kilroy. Thank you for being here. On YouTube, he is. All right, good. And now he's on Facebook, too. Jim Kilroy's everywhere. He is. So if you have a question for us today, throw it in the comments, guys. I'd love to hear from you. And also want to let you know something that's coming Friday. Watch our page Friday. we're getting ready to have our contest with our local music apparel. You know, the support local music apparel that we kind of preach at you guys and throw at you. And you guys have been so gracious as to purchase those and to wear them in all kinds of places. We're going to have a contest on there where we're taking your photos, and we're going to have several categories that you can win prizes. So that'll be fun. One of them obviously is going to be who wore it the furthest away, and who can send us that, and make sure it has a landmark so we identify it. Just don't take your picture in front of a wall and say, oh, I'm in Athens, Greece or something. But we do want to do that. And we also are going to have the one that is going to be, and Glenn, that's one of the categories, most unique, and then one that best represents, and we're going to narrow those down, best represents the music community and supporting local music. So that will be another category in there. And we're going to have some fun with that. So you'll see that on our page on Fridays and such if you want to get involved in that. And Mike says lunch works better for him than the normal. Yeah, it's always slow on the live viewership, but people do watch it afterwards as well when they get a chance. And that's one thing I've noticed too. And I'll say people comment all the time, and I have to add to their comments. They think the only time they can watch our programs is when we go live, but they're always up on our page. You can watch them anytime. It's just not as interactive, obviously. If you ask a question, we have to see that and then answer you and such. But yeah. Wow. Who looked the nerdiest in our attire? That could be good. That could be good. And Glenn, yes, yours was unique. It very much was unique. And we have so many of them. We do. And we're going to ask you to post them on our page. So if you've sent them to me already and we've used them and things like that, when that gets popped up there, please. And Glenn, you'll have to have Jill do it. But at least get it posted on our page if you can. And we want everybody to see it. We've sold thousands of these shirts, and I just want to say thank you. And I want to be able to identify the people on there who have supported not just us at All Around Town Radio, because our logo's on there, but the support local music message on the back is the big key to that. And we want to make sure people get recognized for purchasing those and spending their hard-earned dollars on them. We don't make any money on them. I've told you that before if you've watched the show. What we do is we get a 10% of the sales and roll it right back into shirts that we give away at events and do things like that. And that's kind of how we do it, or roll it back into other merchandise and such that we do. I'm not a big one on wearing my own merch, as they say, and many bands aren't either. But I appreciate all of you who do. And I think it's a little over the top, sometimes self-serving to wear my own merch. I don't know. You can give me your opinion on that. Some people say it's cool. Some people say, that's not so good. So, you can tell me what you think. But a lot of people do wear their own merch. They do. And what else we got here? Thank you, Jim Kilroy. And sounds great, he said. Good deal. YouTube always sounds great. The audio is much better on YouTube. It is. And Glenn says he has 5 of my shirts. Jill has 2 and 3 of our hoodies and a hat. That's awesome. I appreciate it. And those rainy days when you're at those live outdoor shows, those hats come in handy. They do. And Valerie said she wore hers at River's Edge. And guy selling beer ticks said, oh, Scott Hall. That was cool. That's awesome. And I've got some friends down there in Hamilton at River's Edge for sure. We do. And I appreciate their support as well. Hollywood is down there, who we talk about a lot. He's at Hamilton's Urban Backyard now. It's known as The Hub. He's the general manager there, and he's a huge supporter of live local music. And also working at River's Edge for all those big shows they have. And if you haven't been to River's Edge in Hamilton, I highly suggest it. It's a wonderful venue. They have built that area up so much around it. You can travel before to all the different venues there and little bars and things that are in that area and support the local economy in Hamilton by doing so. What else we got? Gina says, I think when you wear your own merch, you're representing what you do and who you are. Okay. Well, see, and a lot of people have told me that too. I don't know. Sometimes I feel, is the term egotistical a little too much? I don't know. but feel a little ego driven when you wear your own stuff like that. I mean, I know you're advertising and that, but I love when other people are out advertising for us and wearing that thing. And we started that just on a whim, basically saying, you know, we're here to support local music. Let's do a shirt that says that on it, and then put our logo on the front, obviously, and it's underneath the support local music. And it's one of those things. So a lot of bands don't believe in wearing their own merch and those kind of things. And Scotty Long says he wears his own merch. It's free advertising. Yeah, I wear others' merch all the time. I do. And so many bands I've been blessed with bands sending me their shirts. I get messages almost weekly, like, what size do you wear? And I tell them, don't get me a large. I wore that in 3rd grade. Get me that, oh my God, it's headed right for us size. And that's what I like. But I'll wear their shirts out to different events and such. And especially if I'm going to see that band, like, you know, I wear the Whammy shirt when I go see the Whammies. I want to represent them. And that's what we're there for. But we're going to have a great contest on the page starting on Friday. You guys will have a chance to post. And we'll do that for a few weeks. And then we've got some nice, kind folks in the venue community who are going to give away some prizes for that. So little prize packages and such that'll come your way. And you never know, you know, who might win. That'd be cool. Mike Trent says, wear it. Okay. And Fastlane said he had his on at the Yingling Brewery, but didn't get to take a picture. Dang. That'd have been a good one. Yeah, if you're wearing our merch, and I hate the term merch, if you're wearing our apparel, please get that stuff, those pictures taken wherever you are. And, you know, take them with a band in the background. Dewey Cole has sent me some great pictures, and people have captured pictures of him wearing our stuff, and Glenn at different events. And again, not a weekend goes by that I don't get a photo sent to my phone that I look at and I just chuckle because somebody's caught somebody else at a different event wearing our Haul Around Town radio apparel. So it's good stuff. It is. And thank you, Mike Trent. And Diana was getting a shameless plug in there for Signs of Life at River's Edge on Saturday. Diana does some great photography work down at River's Edge. She does. Stephen Bell says he wears his, but he's lazy to buy his own clothes. Stephen, come on. Stephen Bell. And Glenn makes shirts for so many bands. Is every band that I go to almost. Yeah. And, you know, that's interesting, too, because some bands really love that you make that apparel and other bands get a little tight-jawed about it, too. That was an interesting part of a thing that happened one day. And, you know, I guess it's like going to the major concert and buying the shirt outside, you know, that's contraband. But one thing about Glenn is he's not making any money off this. So the bands need to realize that if he makes a shirt and somebody else wears it, like he gave me one for the Eagles Project, I wear it all the time. That is, he's not making money off this deal. In fact, he's losing money. And Glenn gives a lot of his own money to supporting local music. And that is so much appreciated. Like the little things that go on, like what's behind my head here, right back here, that bobblehead. That wasn't cheap, I know, Glenn, and thank you for getting that. It's just so cool. So, yeah, let's see. Scotty says he got tired of selling merch. No one ever wanted any. I'm not as cool as everyone else. Well, if ours didn't say support local music on the back, we wouldn't get rid of any of that either. I can tell you that. And Patrick Witt says he wears the hater stuff all around. Don't you love that our little acronym is HATER? Because we got some. We do. And we got some copycats and people like that. And I'm not getting negative today because that's a whole nother show. That'll be a hot topic Tuesday, copycatters who steal ideas from other people. I mean, nothing is basically patented or copywritten in this business, but for the most part. And there's so many melodies. So when you write a song, you know, it's going to sound like somebody else's. And when we play a song, it's so interesting to see how many messages I get from the Book of Face that say Warner Music has challenged you playing their song. It's a local band who's not signed with Warner Music. But anything that sounds like it and the computer picks it up, they jump on it and expect you to remove your audio or to remove your post. Or they give you a demerit. Patrick, good afternoon to you. What happened to your profile picture? It's blank. Well, it's black on my screen. I don't know. Can I see anything there? That's weird. Yeah, it's not showing up. Maybe you don't have one. I don't know. So yeah, that's what's going on. If you have a question about us, though, we've got a few more minutes, or anything I've done in the history here of Haul Around Town Radio, or anything else for that matter, throw it in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And yes, and Love Bomb is checking in there. Which one of you is Love Bomb on here is what I want to know. Yes, I know you guys are playing at Heather's on Friday night. As many of you know, in my personal life, I lost a dog a few weeks ago. We lost a dog a few weeks ago, actually a month or so ago. And we are getting our new puppy on Friday. So I'll do my best to get there, Love Bomb. I would love to see you guys and stop in for the Love Bomb Velvet Crush show. I understand that that's probably sold out at this point, or that thereabouts. So it's Kobe. Okay, good. And that one's getting full. So if you want to get a reservation, I would call Heather's immediately today and try to get in there. She's adding some tables and such, but that's going to be a real interesting one. That is a great question, Valerie. Thank you for that. How did Haul Around Town Radio start? It started when I lived in Florida. Rewind back to 2014 when I retired as a local fire department person here, and was a fire chief for a while and all those things for many, many years, and retired from the fire service, moved to Florida, moved to Fort Myers Beach, Florida, which is a beautiful location, was hammered by the hurricane, but a beautiful location. And I worked at a marina, and I got an idea at the marina because I was doing tours there, doing dolphin tours 3 times a day as a captain. I got my captain's license, and master captain to be exact. I'm going to tout that a little bit. So I could take more than 6 passengers out. I was taking about 40 passengers a trip out for a 2-hour tour, not a 3-hour tour like Gilligan. And we'd go see dolphins, and every trip we would see dolphins and wildlife, and it's just a beautiful estuary there. And we were out, and we went out into the Gulf a little bit, came back into the backwaters, and there was 90 residential dolphin that lived there. So that's rewind to that. And then I got started doing a podcast out of the marina with the local fishing captains who work there to promote their businesses. Basically, we would talk about fishing, what they caught this week, what their clients, where their clients were from, all those things. And that marina also hosted a winter concert series, seasonal in Florida. Winter is the big season, and concert series. So the concert series had all kinds of great players come through. Like I said, I got a chance to interview some guys from the Beach Boys, and they played at this marina, and it would pack full of thousands of people. And people would sit there and listen to this great music. And things like Glenn Leonard from the Temptations. And you have to look at the demographic there. It's a lot of old folks. And those folks go early, but they don't go late. And they love that older music, the Frankie Vallis, the people like that who would come through there. And we had a chance to interview them. And it became a video interview at that point. Thus, Haul Around Town Radio was born. And Fishtail Radio, it was called when we first started from the marina. And Haul Around Town Radio was born, and that's how it worked. And then when we moved back here, we had to move back here due to taking care of family, and we moved back to Ohio. We kept it going here and morphed it into more live local music than we were talking to national acts and things like that we did down there. So that in a nutshell is it. That's the Reader's Digest version. There's a whole lot of in-betweens. And we started here in the Dayton area and with just a handful of musicians who supported us and still do, some of them to this day. And we have grown into what we are in the tri-state, which is awesome and outstanding. Thanks for the question, Valerie. A couple more questions I'll take here before we got to go here at lunchtime, get you all back to work. Favorite decade of music? Oh, Mike, I got to say the 80s, man. I'm an 80s baby. I'm a product of the 80s music. I worked in a teenage nightclub when I graduated from high school, and played a lot of disco. It was a big, 2,000 kids a night through the door. And when I say kids, I'm 14 to 19, 20-year-olds. And it was basically your disco without alcohol, and played a lot of that music. But I also loved the 80s hair bands. I am huge into the glam rock and that kind of stuff. I still to this day will go see any of those I can. I love Motley Crue, Skid Row, Winger. Got a chance to do a great show with Winger there at the Bell and the Bear, and sat on the bus and talked to Kip for a while. And I've interviewed Kip before, and he's an awesome individual. And people like that. So that's really my genre. But I also played with a country music band when I was younger. So all those things kind of go into my musical makeup. But I love the 80s. 80s is probably my favorite decade of music, so to speak. And I know, Mike, you're a big country fan, and that's cool as well. Let's see what else we got coming in here. Kevin, good afternoon. We're taking questions today, guys. Real quick here, we talked earlier about our contest that's coming up on our apparel. If you want to wear it and post it, you'll see it on our page Friday after our Thursday Who's Playing Out show. And let's see. Yes. Have I ever won any break dancing? We had break dancers all the time at the club I worked. They would put furniture polish on the floor and spin and do all that crazy stuff, wearing their parachute pants and that. I, however, was not a break dancer. I did win a disco dancing contest once in my life at another club. Me and a female friend of mine, we won. That was cool. But, yeah, that's it, Mickey. That's it. Have I ever done any break dancing? I did not do any, no, but I sure watched a lot of it. And this club was interesting. It was called Roller World Bus Stop. One side of the building was a roller skating rink, so that's how big it was. The other side was a disco dance club. Now, in the dance club, though, we had a variety of things. So weekends were dance music. I was playing and spinning vinyl records, Prince, all that stuff from the 80s that was popular dance music, even back further when you were looking at the disco era with the, Saturday Night Fever stuff and all that. But we also had metal nights. And some of the guys playing still today, Mad Hatter, Chip from Voyager 3 back then. Chip is playing with Nick Wheeler and people, gosh, Chris Thompson, Dirk Turner from Crying Out Loud. All those people got their start playing in a metal battle of the bands that we had at the bus stop. And, we put a big PA in there. We made it look like a rock concert. These guys were all in high school. All their high school girls came and wooed them and yelled and all that stuff. So that was cool to do as well. So have I ever had a poster of David Hasselhoff? Mickey, it's right next to yours, buddy. I got it on the wall. The poster of these guys on my wall. Sound like the movie Rockstar now. Yes. Mickey, you're a jerk. Thank you. Yeah. Played bass in a country band, Mike. I did for a little bit. Just a short stint. I did more sound for them than I did playing because I sucked as a player. I can sing a little bit, but the playing wasn't so good. But playing the country back then in the early 80s was 3-chord songs. So you could muddle through that on the bass. You could. Nowadays, a little bit different. Kevin wants to know what my favorite part of doing what I do is now. It's meeting people, Kevin. It's interacting, meeting people like you, meeting people out there who share the same interest in love for music and supporting local music. And if you missed our show yesterday, Karis and I went on kind of a tangent about how you can support local bands. And it's one of the most important things I think we've talked about yet on that show is how do you, support your local bands. And many of you do it well. And we were talking about Kevin, as silly as something he did, like the Rick Kearns Fan Club shirts. When people wear those, people that don't know Rick want to know who Rick is. And I think that's cool for the artist. I mean, it is. It's a fun thing to do. And for those that know Rick, it's kind of a humorous thing that everybody wears those. But really, truly, I'm a Rick Kern fan. I'm a big fan of a lot of these musicians. And that's another thing that was a favorite part is getting to interact with them. And I've done a lot of shows. I've worked a lot of shows backstage with many, many national artists in my day. And I started, my first big show was with Marshall Tucker at Hara Arena in 1980, something like that, 79, 80. I ran stage monitors. I was the monitor board guy on stage. And Pat Benatar sat next to me. And she was the opening act, and nobody knew who she was before she hit big on MTV. And I've got stories like that. And that's fun for me. That's my favorite part of this. Because my other job being a firefighter and eventually promoting past the point of fun to fire chief became interesting things. I mean, it was a good release to go do music and get away from the tragedies and things you see in that line of work every day. So that was my zen. And yes, let me see. I've got some more. Richard says, bus stop. Yeah. If you went to Centerville, you went to bus stop. I mean, if you went to Miamisburg, West Carrollton, any of those places, you went to the bus stop. In fact, a funny story, I had a young lady that was a friend of mine back in the day at the bus stop when we first opened the place and all that was going on. And it was really cool. She came into town this weekend. She's been in Texas ever since then. She moved to Texas, been in Texas, came into town 40 years later plus. And we reconnected this weekend at a timestamp show at Heather's, and we had a blast. It was great to catch up. And those are people and relationships you develop forever and ever. And let's see what Al, and there's somebody I was talking about. I said being connected in the music business to people like Al. He runs Ace High Events, and he's booked for many festival and the Sorg Theater. And Al has gotten me those connections. He's the one that got us hooked up with the Oak Ridge Boys, Richard, and we interviewed him a few weeks ago. So I appreciate you, Al, very much. You're one of those friends that I'll always appreciate. And Al and I go way back in the fire department, too. He's another one that left the fire service and became a concert promoter, so to speak, and a booking agent. So Earl Thomas Conley would not have been 3 chords. Thank you, Mike Trent. See, I always can count on you. And yeah, and you know, of all things too, Pat Benatar opening for Marshall Tucker. And fast forward to years later, I'm on I-70 at a fatal auto accident with the fire department as the chief on duty that day. And whose bus stopped right behind this accident that blocked the entire highway for hours, but Pat Benatar's bus. And her husband, Neil, and Pat came off the bus. I told her the story. We laughed. The next thing you know, my guys are on the bus and they're getting water from Pat Benatar and bottles of water and things. It was a long, hot day. And just cool stories like that. I mean, people are great people out there. And some of these national acts are not the horror stories you hear about them. There's some really good people out there. I heard Winona would be an absolute, yeah, you know, she's a crazy, you know what? And never, when I worked with her, she was fantastic. I had a blast with Winona Judd. I did. She was fantastic. And her husband's a hoot. He is. And thank you, Ray. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that very much. Stalker. Yes, absolutely. So if anybody's got another question, I'll take one more before we go. It's almost noon 30, and we'll get out of here, let you all get back to work and do your thing. But I want to remind you again that contest with our Support Local shirts will be on Friday. Watch for it on our page and submit your pictures if you have them. If you don't have one, take one and send it to us. I'd like to recognize all those who purchased that and took care of business for us. Oh, I forgot. We had the, wow, look at that. I have the beach behind me. That's Fort Myers Beach, actually. It's a picture I took when I lived there in Fort Myers Beach that's behind me. Let's go to something else, though. Here we go. We'll go to the stage. That's how it works. So we call this basically Whatever Wednesday when we don't have a band to talk to. I do know that next week I'm going to have some folks on from Children's Medical Center in Dayton who are going to be doing a fundraising event with music and such. And that'll be happening next Wednesday at noon. So tune into that if you get a chance. Thursday's programming is real fun. It's going to be Who's Playing Out, brought to you by Froggies in Monroe, Ohio. So I guess I don't see any more questions barking up the tree here. So we're going to get out of here today. And I thank you for tuning in with us with lunchtime here with us here at All Around Town Radio. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the biggest list of who's playing out in the tri-state. Brought to you by Froggies in Monroe. And Stacy and Rich down there, great supporters of live local music, not only in their venue, but every other venue as well. Hi, Billy from White Knuckle Weekend. Patrick, thank you so much for being here today. We had fun with you. Anytime we don't have a band on a Wednesday, we'll do these shows where you can just ask the questions and we'll chat about anything. If you want to bring up a topic or a hot topic too to talk about, we'll do that. I want to thank my co-host Karis for yesterday. If you haven't watched that show, take a few minutes in your day, even put it on. You don't have to look at us, just listen to us and listen to what we had to say and some of the comments that came in on that show about supporting live local music. Till next time, guys, I want to thank you for being here. Let's see who I'm going to leave with today. Let's get out of here. I'm going to get out of here with Derek Davidson produced this song, and it's Chelsea Calloway, Chelsea's local music artist, female artist, and Chelsea and the Chain is the name of the band. Derek Davidson at Unanimous Records produced this, and I'm going to leave you with it. It's called Save Me, and thank you for tuning in today, everybody. This one's what music does. It saves me. It does. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time here at All Around Town Radio. Have a great day. Get out and support live local music and the bands and venues that bring it to you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Listening to the echoes in the night. Those may be the voices in my heart, trying to rip me apart, shattering my every dream, my every plan. Help me, 'cause I don't understand how to survive the night when it's dark and cold. Is there a superhero out there? I've been living in a nightmare for so long. I'm calling out, but no one sees me, nobody hears me at all. And I'm getting down. Nothing can save me but me. Trying to gather the thoughts in my mind, but they get deeper and it's hard to understand why. They take away my strength and they ignite the song I had. So how do I even survive another night? Is there a superhero out there? I've been living in a nightmare for so long. I'm calling out, but no one sees me.